So, the objective of our scenario assessment is to ensure that the material natural capital risks and opportunities are acknowledged and understood, that they're taken into account in the choice between Vietnam and Ethiopia. In order to contribute to the discussion, you need to have a clear idea of what the most important environmental issues are that you need to look at. You cannot include everything, and therefore you need to define the scope. So first, you need to know who are the main organisations who will be involved, or in sustainability speak, the stakeholders in the value chain. You can divide the value chain into upstream, often suppliers, direct, your core operations, and downstream, which is the users. It's always good to have an understanding of the impacts and dependencies of environmental issues across this entire value chain, but it can be difficult to gain the necessary information, and therefore many people start with what they know best, their own direct operations. For this scenario, the company is looking to acquire a coffee plantation, and therefore you could consider it part of the business direct operations. There you go, first decision made. Now you know which part of the value chain is included, you need to decide whether you're interested in natural capital impacts or natural capital dependencies. First, a quick summary of what we mean by these words impact and dependency. An impact is a positive or negative effect of business activity on natural capital, where a dependency is any business reliance on or use of natural capital. Sometimes these impacts and dependencies can be more hidden than we would expect, so it helps to visualize this through something we call a pathway. Pathways illustrate how impacts or dependencies can manifest into material issues for your business. So, using our example, an impact pathway could be how the coffee plantation consumes water to irrigate the plants. In this case, our water consumption can reduce water availability for others and increase water scarcity. This is an impact, a change in local natural capital. But you need to understand the significance of the reduction in water in the local context and what the consequence is. And this is where valuation comes in. First, we know that coffee yields reduce if there is not enough water, so maintaining water availability is a big concern. If we don't, your business might soon be in a position where you need to move operations or lose this plantation. It becomes clear that if you continue current consumption practices, you're likely to face serious operational and financial risks in the future. You might be in a situation where investing now in different water management techniques is a less expensive and less risky option. For dependencies, the pathway might look like this in our example. So our coffee plantation is dependent on pollination for the coffee plants, but we notice that our local population of pollinators is declining. This could be because of our coffee plantation using too many chemicals, or it might be because the farm up the road is using too many chemicals, or it might be a bigger external factor like climate change or habitat loss. We don't know yet, but you can value the consequence. For us, you could look at the loss of revenue as a result of crop failure, as well as artificial alternatives like transporting pollinators in from other locations. This would be very expensive and would probably only get more expensive over time. You might find that establishing set-aside land, using fewer chemicals, or engaging our neighbours on the issue is again a more attractive option. Remember that some issues can be both an impact and a dependency depending on how you look at it. Water consumption is both a dependency on water and an impact on local water reserves. Ideally, you would look at both impacts and dependencies every time. However, for ease, we'll start by looking at one or the other. So would you like to consider impacts or dependencies?